Stay cool here, brother. Eagle, we think they'll be eagle feather. Spiritually, we think when we bring the artifacts back, we're bringing the person back home. It's very touching, because for us, having a person put on the costume, that becomes the person. My name is Samuel Fayant. I'm a member of the Tohono O'odham Nation in southern Arizona. I currently work for the Culture Affairs Tribal Historic Preservation Office, and it has given me the opportunity to come into New York and start working on repatriation of our sacred items from the American Museum of Natural History in New York.
The Division of Anthropology houses an extensive collection of ethnographic material from all over the country. The Cultural Resources Office oversees all repatriation activities for the American Museum of Natural History. Generally speaking, repatriation is returning something or someone to its country or community of origin. NAGPRA is the acronym for the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act, and this was federal legislation passed in 1990 that provides a process by which human remains and cultural items can be repatriated or returned to federally recognized tribes, Native Hawaiian organizations, and lineal descendants. In any given year, we can consult with 30 to 100 tribes. Like the Tohono O'odham, repatriation always starts with the exchange of information because communities need to know what a museum has before it can make any decisions on repatriation. And then tribes and Native Hawaiian organizations can submit repatriation requests at their discretion.
When I first got involved with the repatriation, my boss gave me a copy of a book called New Trails in Mexico by Carl Lumholtz.
Carl Lumholtz was a Norwegian explorer and naturalist, and he conducted several expeditions throughout the American Southwest and northern Mexico. And he conducted some time among the Tohono O'odham people in 1909 and 1910. He collected hundreds of items from them, and he recorded much of that detail in his field notebook that we have here, as well as his subsequent publication. Many of the items in the Tohono O'odham's claim can be traced to Carl Lumholtz, and so the information that we have about his time among them is essential.
Everybody thought, since he is Norwegian, that he took everything back to a museum in Norway. I started talking to a friend of mine who's an archaeologist, and he said, I saw those Lumholtz artifacts, then they're at the American Museum of Natural History in New York.
So in 2018, the Tohono O'odham Nation Repatriation Office submitted a request for a list of all Papago ethnographic material. Papago is an outdated term for the Tohono O'odham, but it's a term that's commonly used in museum records because that's the name it had at the time it was acquired.
Out of the items that Lumholtz bought from the O'odham, we identified 107 items that were associated with the Wigida ceremony.
Much of what we understand about the Wigida ceremony came from our consultations with Samuel and members of the Tohono O'odham community. We understand that it was called the Great Harvest Festival as well as the Prayer Stick Festival, and it happened around once every 4 years to bring the rain necessary for a successful harvest and to ensure order in the world.
It was a big ceremony, and people came from miles away to witness the ceremony or participate in the ceremony.
The main players seemed to be these singers who wore gourd masks that were painted, and clowns who wore these wonderful feathered headdresses.
The clowns, or the Nauichu, they kind of amused the group of people that were there to observe the ceremony, but they also were considered healers. So a lot of people that had some sickness knew that they could go to the ceremony, and the Nauichu could conduct blessing ceremonies for them to make them well. There's one individual in Lumholtz's book. His name is Simon, and we have almost his complete outfit. So Simon is the one that sold all these items to Lumholtz, but in the process, he was telling him what the ceremony was and so forth.
When we were looking at photographs of Simon, we were doing a visual comparison between what we saw in that photo and the items that we have in collections, trying to make a match. And then we went into our archives and we saw Carl Lemholtz's field notebook in which he had indicated which items specifically came from Simon. There are turkey feathers, hawk feathers, all different kinds of birds reflected in these pieces. I was really amazed by the cocoon rattles that were used for the ankle and wrist pieces. Little cocoons that were sewn by moths and then filled with pebbles in order to make a rattling noise.
String. 107 items that were associated with the Wigida ceremony. Those are the ones that we sent out a formal request, repatriation request, and working with NAL, that one went through their review committee here, and they approved it. So that's 107 items that we're going to take back. The new guys that came in with me, new men that came in with me today to box up the artifacts, they were really, amazed at seeing them the first hand. So even just collecting the feathers, it took a long process to do that, to collect all the feathers and then even putting them together. The last time that the Wigida ceremony took place in the community of Santa Rosa or Guachi district was back in 1945. And unfortunately, the ceremony went away. The elders that knew the songs, knew the ceremony, how the ceremony was conducted, they're all gone now. So right now, some of the younger people, they probably don't have a clue as to what the ceremony was about or what it might look like. So I think bringing everything back, that's going to give them an opportunity. Back in the day, the museums, when they hired people to go out and they dug up sites on our reservation and so forth, and unfortunately, that was that sad history about it. But nowadays, they now have respect for our ancient villages, our cultural sites, our remains and so forth, and they have more understanding and that type of mentalities in the past now.
Repatriation is very powerful. You could see how important it was for these items to go back to Arizona. Working with the Tohono O'odham was just a great pleasure, and so we were very pleased to be a part of that.
A lot of people say that since the sacred artifacts are in museums, maybe that's why we're having a lot of disruption around the villages or the tribe, That's why we're not healthy and so forth, So to bring the items back, it helps us out, gives us the healing, from all these negative things going around us. So I think that way it'll help us out in the long run too.